I am Meghan Fluckiger, 5th grade teacher and English department team leader. 5th grade is an exciting grade as we are the first grade of middle school. So students spend the majority of their day in my classroom for their English, history, and math classes. They then switch to other classrooms for science and related arts. As students transition from our 4th grade classroom, which is right across the hallway, Melissa Zahansky, the 4th grade teacher, and I work hard to develop this transition that starts in the early months of 4th grade when Melissa works with her 4th graders to help them prepare for 5th grade. I start in September in her classroom, building relationships with her students, getting to know their names and what hobbies they have so that this relationship lasts. By the time they get to 5th grade, it's a natural transition into room 107. As a teacher, one of my primary goals is for students to be independent thinkers and problem solvers. So whether they're in math and they're struggling to solve a complex problem, I encourage them to use various tools and strategies to arrive at the answer rather than telling them the answer. I encourage them to seek help from their peers before asking for help from me, the teacher, so that they understand the steps in problem solving, but also most of the time they can solve those problems on their own, and that realization empowers them to do more of the thinking and do more of the work rather than relying on me to help them through their hard moments. This will help them on their journey as a middle school student, as the expectation in the upper grades is for them to be more independent and to do more of the work themselves. At the beginning of the year, lessons are more teacher-driven to help students understand the path that they need to take towards independence. And as the year progresses, I remove those supports so that the students are doing more of the work and more of the thinking, whether it's individually or in small groups. I allow them and create an environment where they feel safe enough to be vulnerable, to try new things and to ask for help from their peers, to use different resources in the classroom to arrive at their answer or their problem. And so really fostering that independence and providing a safe space for them to be independent is really crucial. In English, we have a novel-based curriculum. Within our literature circles, students have the opportunity to talk about deeper meanings and theme. We, as a group, learn how to communicate effectively with each other. By teaching students how to converse with each other, not only are they learning conversational skills, but they're learning how to be vulnerable and talk about hard things. And that work really does begin at the beginning of the year. As the year progresses, my job is to remove myself from those discussions so that the students are the ones that are leading and taking charge in their small groups. As they are discussing, I am circling the room, I'm helping them to answer any questions that they may have collectively as a group, but really the students are the ones that are doing the thinking, and they are the ones that are empowering each other to connect not only to themselves but the greater world. One of the unique opportunities of working at a boarding school is having the ability to not only connect with children in the classroom but outside as well. Whether it's on the sports field, it's in the dining hall, or it's on dorm when you are hanging out with a bunch of middle schoolers on a Monday afternoon. For me, while yes, I love making a difference in the classroom and I love being able to help students reach those milestones in their learning, to me it's really about the relationships that I'm building. One of my absolute favorite parts of the day is when students come back to visit. Oftentimes you can come down here during an enrichment period and find many former students choosing this classroom as their enrichment block. And that just means that they need to come here to get some work done for a check-in. Often you can find Mr. Ames questioning them as to why they are in this classroom, as I'm not their current teacher. And most times they say to just hang out with Miss F. And that tells me that this really is a safe environment and space for them to come and work and check in and talk, and that for me is really what it's all about. I was born and raised in Brooklyn, Connecticut, before moving to Tolland, Connecticut, right before kindergarten. When I am not in school, I am busy reading, cooking, spending time with my family and friends, and my 4-year-old dog, Callie. And I also am an avid member of the gym that I go to, and so you can find me there most mornings at 5:30 a.m. As cliche as it is, I have wanted to be a teacher from the time I was a little girl. My parents told stories of how I would line my bears up, I would line the neighborhood children up, and my little sister, we are 8 years apart, in the basement and teach them for hours. To the point where I would often send my little sister to the principal, my mom, with a note that said she wasn't following directions, and she would reply, "She's 3." So being a teacher has been a passion of mine since my very early years. As a student, I struggled with literacy and with math. It wasn't until my parents moved me to a smaller private school that I really figured out who I was as a learner. I needed support from my school, my teachers, and those tips and tricks that they gave me at an early age are still some of the same tips and tricks that I give my students to this day. As a struggling learner myself, it has allowed me as a teacher to empathize with my students and help them in a more personal and meaningful way. Once switching to my small private school in 7th grade, I stayed in private school until college. I went to the University of St. Joseph, where I received a bachelor's in child study and a master's in elementary education in reading and language arts. I had finished my student teaching in November of 2009 and had anticipated finding a job in a public school, as that was my career path. When I heard of this opportunity at Rectory School through Colleen O'Neill, our Associate Director of Residential Life, and as soon as I became a part of the Rectory community, I realized that this was the place for me and I wanted to stay. One of my favorite things about working at Rectory is having the ability to connect with children from all over the world, but more than that, learn about their culture and their background and who they are and what they bring to the Rectory community. We have children from all over with the most fascinating life stories, and I've been here for almost 15 years, and every day I learn something new about not only the children in my classroom, but the children everywhere in the school who share a little piece of themselves every day. For me, Rectory is my second home. I spend a considerable amount of time here, not only in the classroom and in activities with the children, but also with my colleagues. The friendships that I've developed here at Rectory with my colleagues are some of the most important and dear friendships to me. Rectory feels like my second home, and my colleagues feel like family. If you are considering Rectory for your child, I would say that not only is this a unique opportunity for children to be immersed and learn from children from all over the world, but here your child will receive support that addresses the whole child. While we have curricula in place that we follow, our goal is to help them on their journey. So if they are a struggling learner, if they are an English language learner who is just accessing the language, we have the unique ability to choose novels and choose texts that will not only help them learn and understand, but meet them where they're at, to help them become an independent thinker and learner to carry them into the greater world.